Each and every living being has got the longing for the great. Each and every man wants to do something noble, something lasting. But the life of each and every man is not crowned with success, because the thing that a man requires most is a proper guidance. In ancient times, there was a yogi king in ancient India about 3,500 years ago. And his guide was Lord Krishna. Krishna was a great yogi. Name of that yogi king was Yudhishthira. Yudhi means in war, in battle, and Sthira means unaffected, unassailed, balance. So he who can maintain his mental balance even in wartime is Yudhishthira. Now, he was a yogi. Yogi means practical man. A yogi has got little to do with theory. A yogi is not a theoretician, he is a practical man. He was asked a question, and that question was, what is the proper path, proper way? And he is the answer in Yudhishthira was, let me speak in Sanskrit the exact reply. He said, Shruti vibhinnaha samritayo vibhinnaha naika munir yashamatam na binnam dharmasya tatvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena gata sapantha. He replied that one is to follow the practical man and not the theoretician. The theory may or may not be a success in the field of application. It may be good in book, it may be good in theory, it may be good in contemplation, but it may or may not be useful in practical life. So, a yogi, a spiritual aspirant, is to follow the practical man. That is, a yogi is to follow a Mahayogi. He said, Shruti vibhinnaha. Now, there are so many scriptures in the world, but these scriptures vary from one another. Now, the supporters of those scriptures, supporters of each and every scripture, say that ours is the message of God. It cannot be challenged. By saying this, that is, it cannot be challenged, they try to block the intellectual progress of human society. That is, man should not think beyond this. They want to do what? They try to kill the intellectual progress of human society. They are enemies of human progress, they are enemies of human civilization. Had there been no intellectual progress, then even in this second half of 20th century, we would have been in the Stone Age. So there must be intellectual progress, and no power, no theory should try to block this progress. But scriptures vary from one another, and they say that each and every supporters of each and every scripture, they say that ours is the message of God, it is the supreme word. Then if all these scriptures are message of the same supreme being, then why do they vary from one another? Supreme being is one, and if all the scriptures are messages of that single supreme being, then there should not be any variation amongst themselves. This shows that those scriptures are not messages of that supreme being. But what a common man is to do? Whom to follow? In a particular scripture, you will see, they say during meditation, a man, a sadhaka should be facing east. Another scripture will say, no, a sadhaka should be facing west. Now, how to adjust? Then if a sadhaka wants to make an adjustment, he is either to face north or south, an adjustment between east and west, either north or south. A very difficult job, a naughty problem, a very naughty problem. Now, those spiritual scriptures, those not spiritual, those scriptures, they vary from one another. A common man, what a common man is to do? Smritayo Venna. And in Sanskrit, smriti means social code. Scriptural codes vary. Social codes also vary. In ancient times, there were so many social systems, and now there are so many social systems in different portions of the world, and amongst different races of the world, and amongst different races of a particular country. In the same country, there are so many social codes and social incidents. Whom to follow? Which one is absolute? Which one is perfect? What a common man is to do? A very naughty problem. What to do and what not to do. Nayaka Muni Yasya Matam na Vinnam. And amongst the intellectuals, you see, they always quarrel amongst themselves. Those intellectuals, non-intellectual people may have love and affection amongst themselves, but intellectuals, learned people, they always quarrel amongst themselves. And they think if any of them, if a particular intellectual supports the view of another intellectual, it means it is a case of it is rather an insultation to support others. He should create a particular school of thought of his own. He shouldn't support others. So intellectuals always quarrel amongst themselves. The common one is to follow whom? Mr. A intellectual says Mr. B knows, another intellectual Mr. B knows nothing. And Mr. B says Mr. C knows nothing. A common man, what he is to do? Whom to follow? He is to follow Mr. A or to B or to C. And not the problem. You see, intellectuals, they always vary. What a man is to do, a common man, a practical man, a yogi is to do. Yudhishthira was a yogi, I said, he was a yogi king. He says, now what is the goal of life? A man, that is the supreme goal of life, the supreme physical, intellectual, mental and spiritual goal of the entire cosmological order is the same. the same desideratum for all. And where lies that desideratum? Who is that supreme point? What is the supreme terminus? What is the supreme culminating point? And where doth lie that supreme point? He says, Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam. The essence of spiritualism lies coverted in the I feeling of each and every individual. You know, when I is connected with some other physical object, when I is connected with, is related to some other physical being, then that physical being is the object, I is the subject, and that connecting link is the verbal expression. I food, I eat food. I mango, I eat mango. This it is the connecting link, it is the verbal expression. Clear? I water, drinking. I am drinking water. I am drinking is the connecting link. The subject, object and connecting link. Now, there is I in each and every being. There is one I in you. I am going, I am seeing Baba. There is one I. Each and every individual has got one I. And that I is connected with external physicalities, external objects. Now, I, when connected with external objects, that I is the subtlest mind. That I is the subtlest portion of mind. I exist. This I is the subtlest point of mind. And exist. While saying exist, indirectly we say, I exist in this world. I exist in certain such place. The object is mute here. Object is not expressed, but object is understood. This I of I exist, that I of I exist is the subtlest. Not am the, is the, I in third person, I is the subtlest mind. Now you know, each of you, in the mind of each and every living being, there is this feeling of I exist. There is one I exist in you, I exist, I am, I exist. This I is the subtlest mind. But don't you know that there is the feeling of I exist in you? You know it? You know it? You know this fact that there is the feeling of I exist in you? Don't you know it? You know it? That there is a feeling of I exist in you. Then I know the fact that I exist. I know the fact that there is a feeling of I exist in me. Now here, the I of I exist, the subject of the sentence I exist is the subtlest mind. And I of I know the fact that I exist. The I of I know, subject of the sentence I know that I is the Atman, is the spirit, is the soul. It is not mine. There is a feeling of I exist in me. I exist. That I is fatless mind. The feeling that I exist is in me, is known to me. That knowing I know that I exist. That knowing I of I know is the Atman, spirit, soul. Now this I exist is the fatless mind, and it is called Guha in Sanskrit. And what is the essence of spiritualism? I of I know. I know that I exist, that I of I know. So, the I of I know, that is the essence of spiritualism. You know so many things, but you have to know yourself. When you know yourself, that thing, that sound is the Supreme Sound. And for that realization, to know your own I is your sadhana, is your spiritual practice. And when you will know your own I, you try to know so many people, but you don't know yourself. It is just like a citizen of Manila. He wants to see Hong Kong, he wants to see Tokyo, he wants to see Rangoon, but he doesn't know Manila. First know Manila. First know yourself. First know your inner eye. You know, a man can easily become omniscient. How can a living creature, living being be omniscient? The secret is, if you want to know all, know one, and that one is your own I. And if you want to know everything, if you try to know everything, you won't be able to know anything. If you want to know all, know one. And that one is your own I. So the yogi King Yudhishthira says, Dharmasya Sattvam Nihitam Guhayam, the spirit of Dharma, the spirit of spiritualism, the spirit of yoga lies covered in what? In your own I feeling, in your own I exist. Because I know, I of I know lies covered in the I of I exist. Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam Guhayam. And who is your nearest person? You know, you try to know so many things. But you should know, first of all, you should know your nearest object. Which one is your nearest object? Hand, finger. Nearest object? Finger. No. Arm. No. Chest. No. What is the nearest point? I is your nearest entity. And the distance cannot be measured. Can you measure? Distance cannot be measured. So it is the nearest entity. And first of all, you should know, you should come in close contact with all the moods of your own eye, with all the characteristics. In your books, in your laboratories, you study, you try to learn the characteristics of oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen monoxide, hydrogen peroxide, and so many elements and compounds. But you don't know the characteristics of your nearest object. Try to know all the characteristics of your nearest object in your mental laboratory. So how to do it? In the laboratory, a theoretician won't be of any help, won't be able to help you in your research. A theoretician? No. You require a practical demonstrator there in the laboratory. So the King Yudhishthira says, in the realm of spirituality, in the realm of yoga, whom to follow? Not those scriptures. You may or may not follow those scriptures. You may or may not follow those social codes. And you may or may not decode those intellectuals. What you have to do? You have to follow those practical demonstrators. That is, you have to follow the yogis. And certainly, as per his direction, you will attain that supreme stance. You will enjoy that supreme certificate.